All right, welcome back to another video, guys. In today's video, I'm trapping off the laptop, and we're going to be breaking down exactly what I did to take a trade yesterday. I didn't take any trades today. I'll explain today real quick and break it down for you guys, but overall what happened was I marked out 15-minute highs, 15-minute lows, right? We had a break above, a retest, and then a continuation. Unfortunately, I did not catch that, and that's simply due to the fact that we basically we're started chopping around in that area. I just didn't like the price action in that area. Bear with me if there's some background noise. There's a lot of dogs in here right now, so. But on the 2 minute, I didn't like this price action because we're just chopping. And I didn't think it was worth the risk, especially if price was going to come back down to here, take me out, right, or break below these EMAs. I didn't think it was worth the risk, in my opinion. So I didn't end up taking it, unfortunately. Missed out on a big opportunity, but that was today. So the FOMO was real with that. But that being said, if we go back to yesterday, July 1st, I took a trade on Sqqq. And here was my trade. So we're going to break down. I'll mark out the highs and the lows for you guys because I have not done that yet. Highs and lows in terms of the 15-minute orb strategy. So we have the boom 15-minute high. I don't know. What is the 15-minute low? I think those are all pretty much equal. And then 15-minute low. So if we look at the 5-minute here, you can see once we broke below this 15-minute low, we didn't have very much progress to the downside. Pushed back up within the range, came back down again. Cool. This candle is red. There's a lot of sellers on this candle. Awesome. But overall, we just didn't get the continuation that I was looking for. I'm periodically going to check this just to make sure the camera is actually still working. So we didn't get the push we're looking for, and then we ended up getting a move up on Sqqq, which means a move down on QQQ. So essentially, if I go back to QQQ, this is what I was looking for. So this is the first, July 1st. You can see we go on the 15-minute time frame, right? First of all, we had a perfect shadow supply strategy here. Mark out this candle wick. Boom, it never breaks above the candle wick and then starts to move downwards. And on top of that, where he broke above all-time highs, made new all-time highs, and I'm expecting some sort of pullback at some point. So with that being said, we're already in a downtrend on the 15-minute time frame. All I need is really just a break below that 15-minute range for us to start moving down, a close below, a retest, something of that nature. And honestly, preferably a 15-minute orb strategy to actually play out. And if a 15-minute orb strategy were to play out, beautiful, but in this case it did not. So if we go back to Sqqq, obviously, as you can see, not really anything here in terms of the 15-minute orb strategy. But if we look at the 5-minute time frame, you can see we ended up getting multiple candle closes above. And I'll be honest, this was a late entry on this. I didn't want to enter this late on here, but I kind of had to. And I knew that I could because I knew that price was still able to go down. Now, the reason I knew that price was still able to reach down to where I wanted to is because, once again, if we go to the 15-minute time frame at QQQ or on QQQ, we have this low over here that price wanted to come down to and rebalance to. So I had that marked out. I knew that price wanted to come down there. I knew that we weren't just going to stop right here. Why would we stop right there? There's more lows than that. We're gonna have to take those before we continue moving up. And if we don't, then I'll lose the trade. But in this case, I didn't. I did miss out on quite a bit of profit, though. I won't even lie. Unfortunately, you can see this candle right here is where I got in. What I liked most on this was on the 2-minute time frame. We had the break above. We had the retest. Beautiful, right? And then we got a continuation. So already after that continuation, I'm like, all right, I can get in here, but I gotta like keep my stops kind of short or tight just so that I don't you know, because I can risk too much. I can get carried away with this. So I decided to keep my risk at the bottom of this candle wick, entered here, and as long as it could stay above this 13 EMA, then I'd be good. Stayed above that 13 EMA. All I was risking, I know on this it says like a 1 to 3.8, but technically it was just a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And I could have easily targeted those lows on Sqqq because that's where Sqqq went, was basically to those lows. But unfortunately, I didn't hold all the way until then. I got out. I actually didn't get out here. I was looking for that push, but I've basically broke my rules twice here and here by not selling at least half. So by the time this pushed up to here, I was like, all right, I have to sell everything because it's already touched twice. So what are the odds that it pushes through? And unfortunately, it did push through. But overall, with this strategy, all I really did was wait for the 15-minute orb to play out. I waited for price to break to the downside on Sqqq, and then waited for, you know, somewhat of a pullback. There wasn't very much of a pullback here, but as long as I could set my risk according to a previous candle, then I knew that I would be okay. So pretty simple trade overall. Nothing crazy. I'm just mad that I missed out on the rest of the move. I'm just mad about that. But with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you learned something from this video and can apply it to your own trading. And until next time, I will see you guys in the next video.